Welcome to The Power and the Pain, where your past isn't your prison.
It's the fuel for your purpose.
I'm Greg Pease, combat veteran, NLP trainer, and your guide to turn trauma into triumph. This is The Power and the Pain. Let's go. Welcome back to The Power and the Pain, where we're discussing turning our trauma into triumph. It's near and dear talking with those that have experienced trauma in the past. And as I say on almost every episode, trauma's I'm going to suggest a subjective word. Then we have to say, what is trauma? And I suggest it's all relative and adverse experiences that we had in our past that continued to play in our neurology, in our emotions, in our thoughts as we went into the future. If you've had any experiences like that, this podcast is for you, and buckle up because today I got a really unique guest.
What's up,
Corey? Man? What's up, brother? Unique. So Corey, how long have we, like month, 2 months been linked up?
I think it's been a month.
Something like, and then so a mutual friend connects us, and me and Corey. I mean, when I first, I trust myself. I trust energy. As soon as when I meet people, like I could be wrong. I'll give a second check, but I trust myself with whatever the vibe is. So as soon as I met Corey, I knew I'm like, okay, this is part of my tribe. This is part of my people. And as we started talking, and I only know still, I mean, a month, like I only know a little, I know a little bit more than you guys about Corey, but I only know a little bit about Corey. And I'm intrigued to learn more, and I'm inspired by what you've created, through taking your past trauma and transforming it into service for others. Let me first ask you, when did you realize how what did it look like for you realizing I want to serve others? Like you went through trouble. Trauma. These are my labels. And somehow said, I'm going to take that and I need to serve other people. How did that, like, tell me a little bit about how does that?
I don't think that there was ever a moment like post-trauma that I was like, well, I want to take this and be able to help other people. I think that's just in my DNA. It's just part of who I am. I look back over my entire life, and the things that I've been doing have always been in service of others. You know, I was that kid that took up for the other kids at school that were getting bullied. I'd gladly go to war for you, man. Let's go. Or joining the military, medical field, law enforcement. It's always been that I want to help other people. It's always been a drive there. When all of this happened, it was just one of those things is once I was able to get to a place where I could stand again and just fill my lungs once more, I just felt this pull to go out and just have conversations with people, to see where they are and see if there's anything that I can say or pull out of that conversation that's going to just let them walk away feeling better about themselves, that they walk away with. I just love smiles. I love when people walk away with a smile.
Yeah. Did you, was there anything as you went through some of your darker times, is there anything you would relate with that, like, man, I really, like, I can think to myself, like when I serve others, I do think sometimes through a lens of like, what did I need? Have you thought about that? And then like, do you find any relation of like, man, I needed that, and so I don't want anyone else to be without that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What did that look? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Forgive me.
I kind of want to start it with what I didn't need. I didn't need the platitudes. I didn't need the, just take it one day at a time, or, give it to God. I didn't need that. What I needed in those moments was just someone to sit there. You didn't have to say a word. Just your energy, your presence. You sitting there, taking time out of your day just to make sure I'm okay. And that's what I like doing. I'll constantly talk to people, and when we end the conversation, it's, look, call me, come by, whatever you need, even if it's just to sit on the phone and listen to one another breathe, just so you've got that human connection, that support in case you need it. Yeah. That was huge. I had a couple people in my life that just held space for me, that made sure I was eating, made sure that I freaking showered.
Mm-hmm.
It was just those things.
Yeah.
Those small things, just to not to forget to take care of yourself.
That's powerful. I felt that when you said, like, to make sure like, there has to be assumption here, projection. I think there has to be some people like, make sure you showered, and then there's the rest of us that are like, oh yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm. I remember that in my journey.
Yeah, there's some very, very dark places in the things that we breathing is something we never think about until we can't breathe.
Yeah.
And it's in those moments. Showering is not something I think about. It's just something I do. But when I was sitting in that pit, my focus was on survival in that moment. And that moment lasted months. And it was in those moments where I couldn't think about the basic things. I mean, I need a shower. When's the last time I took a shower? I don't know. How long have I had on these clothes?
Now, Corey, are you comfortable sharing more? Like, as we're talking about this experience you went through, are you comfortable sharing the experience?
I think so.
Okay.
I haven't done it before. I feel that it's time. So let's just get into it and see what happens.
I'm not sure what to say, what to ask at the moment.
Well, I think I threw you off with the think so. I'm ready.
Well, and even that, like, my thought was, like, the question that came to mind was like, well, what happened? I'm like, well, how do you want to? Would you like to share with us and the listeners? Like, I know, like, literally this much for those listening. Okay, mm-hmm. Like this much. At whatever level you're comfortable, would you create awareness for all the listeners?
Yeah.
What age were you, Corey?
That's a good question. That is a good question. I am 38. I was 38. Okay. Yeah, I was 38 when it happened. So what happened was we have a divorce and we have separate households. And luckily, my ex-wife was the type of person that the child comes first. And even after our divorce, we became very good friends. We talked every day. We talked about our child and what was going to be in the best interest of him. There was never any negativity between the two of us, especially when it came to him. He was staying with her for a bit. We made the decision that would be best for him to come and stay with me. He needed to have dad time. So he came and lived with me, and he went back to Puerto Rico to visit for a bit. During that time, he left his grandmother's house, walked upstairs, said some words to her, hit the road, and that was it. As he was walking down the street, an elderly gentleman had just left his house, was on his way to school to pick up his grandchild, had a massive heart attack, died instantly, lost control of his car, and that car hit my son. People saw it happen. They were able to get the vehicle off of him, called 911. They responded off to the hospital. The part that still bothers me is what I was doing that morning. I love teaching. And I was teaching that morning. And part of that teaching is I'm playing audio through my phone, so it's connected to the stereo system, so I can't have notifications coming through. I can't have phone calls coming through. So it's on airplane mode. I get through the classes, get everything cleaned up, heading back to my house to get my day started. Forget to take my phone off airplane mode. Get home, make breakfast, shower, make breakfast, sit down in a meeting. I look at my phone and realize it's on airplane mode. I turn it off, and as soon as it goes off of airplane mode, it's my mom ringing in. And she's asking me, have you spoken to Idalia? I said, no, ma'am. She goes, you need to call her right now. I said, what's going on? She goes, you need to call her right now. I couldn't reach her. I called her mom. I called her dad. I called her. I called her mom. I called her dad. I called her. Finally, I got a hold of her mom, and she told me what was going on. This is approximately 7:30 in the morning. At that time, there's a knock on my door, and it's my mom. And I knew it wasn't good. I'm speaking with his grandmother. She puts his mom on the phone. She fills me in on what happened. We're both medical. We're both in the medical fields. When you hear that your son was hit by a car and pinned under it for a little bit, having been at the bedside of people in that same position, you have an idea of the state of the trauma that's going on inside that person. So I'm trying to tamp down all of those thoughts. Immediately go into prayer. Still remember the prayer. And it was me and my mom. And I said, God, you said, where two or more gather, you are with them. So we're here right now. And I'm asking you to step in and perform miracles. I'm asking you to do supernatural things through the medical professionals that when it's done, they just walk away and be like, I don't even know. It had to come from him. But I know it's going to be a long road, but I'm confident we're going to get through this. And I left it at that. Fully confident that everything's going to be fine. Get online, start pulling up airplane tickets to figure out the fastest time I can get out of Nashville and get to Puerto Rico. Fastest time I could get there was the next morning. So I sat there in that just hell, knowing I can't be there with my son right now. Still confident that it's going to be okay. It was just past 11:30, and I felt it. I felt him die. And in that moment, I screamed, I cursed God. I told him everything I had, held nothing back. And my mom just sat there. Got through that night. No sleep. Constantly battling God. Like, how? We have loved you. We have honored you. We have served you. He has loved you. He has honored you. And he has served you. And you, of all people, know exactly what this feels like. And you took my son. I don't know if there's any coming back from this. A couple hours go by. I hear, not audibly, just that deep baritone voice in my head going, I didn't take your son. When your son died, I wept. And that was it. And I sat in that for the rest of the night and until I looked at the time and saw it was time for me to head to the airport. I head to the airport. My mom's in tow. Dude, I couldn't have done any of this without that woman. The strength of that woman amazes me to this day. We go, there's a snafu. We probably need to have an explanatory comma right there on what snafu is.
Yeah.
Situation normal, all effed up.
Yeah.
There's a snafu at the airport, and she can't get on the plane. And normally I go into protective mode. That's my mom. And I'm going to come hell or high water, we're going. And I looked at my mom, I said, I cannot. You are going to have to figure this out. You let me know, but I've got to go. We kissed, we hugged, we prayed, and I got on a plane. Land in Puerto Rico, go to the rental car place, grab the car, head on down to Guayanilla from San Juan. In that, I didn't take into account, I'm closer to the equator right now, and all I've done is cry. My eyes are very sensitive, and I'm going, I need sunglasses. I can't make this hour and a half drive just the whole time through tears. Because I've traveled this route countless times with him in the back seat. Countless times. And I'm passing things and, landmarks. La Tetas de Calle. He would always talk about it. They're mountains, and they're equal peaks right side by side. And we would always talk about it. And he's like, why do they call it that? And I was like, because that's what it looks like, son. That's what it looks like. I got nothing else. So I pulled over at this mall. It was the first place I came to, and I ran in to grab some sunglasses. And I got a phone call from my dad. Phone call did not go well. That's an interesting relationship. And he was demanding some things. And that was the first time that I kind of manned up and told him exactly what I was thinking and how I was feeling. And if he had more questions, he could get on a plane and come. If not, I don't have time for this. I need to go find my son and bury him. Get back in the car. I pull into Guayanilla. And I had quit smoking. I don't know, a year before. But in that moment, I needed a cigarette. I pull over to the gas station. Right down the road. I could jog from that gas station to the place he died. Or the place that he had the accident. And I'm sitting there, and I go in, I get a pack of cigarettes, and I come out, and I open them up. I pull one out, put it to my lips, and I realized, hey, fool, you're out of practice. You don't even have a lighter. How you going to light this? But there was a group of guys off to the side. And they were smoking and drinking. So I walk over, and I ask the guy, hey, can I borrow a lighter? Now, I'm not native, so my accent is fairly noticeable, right? So the guy's like, man, you here on vacation? I was like, no, sir. And got the lighter, lighting and puffing. He goes, you're not here on vacation? What? Why are you here? And I let him know that my son died yesterday. And I'm coming to finish out this process to bury my son. The guy I'm talking to immediately erupts into tears, hysterics. And I'm sitting here going, what is wrong with this dude? At that same moment, a police car pulls up. I'm like, And they're looking at us. And the lady from behind the counter comes out, and they're all standing looking at us. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? Come to find out, the guy who just lost all of his crap, it was his father who was driving the car, who had the heart attack that hit my son, that led to his death. So they felt, I am noticeable when I go to Puerto Rico. You know, there's a lot of identifying marks. So they, oh, you're Alexi's dad. Yeah. So the cops showed up because they thought there was going to be a problem. But this guy didn't have any control over that. This was just a series of events, most unfortunate events. And then it has all led us here together in this moment. So we talk. He's extremely apologetic. They're still trying to figure out what to do. There was an issue because it's a small town. There's one funeral home. And they did not want any issues. So they told that family that they would have to wait on starting the process to bury their father. We exchange contact information. I go up to my former mother-in-law's house, and everyone's there, and talking, crying, sharing stories, just trying to figure out what to do next. I don't know how I got through any of that. I do know that once we got everything settled there, because we'll say in the city, I went up to El Campo up on the mountain. And there's a small little house up there, La Casita, and it was built by Alexi's grandfather and Alexi. There's a pool there that's fed from the mountain that's running down the river, or the water that's running down the river, down the side of the mountain. It feeds this pool. Alexi helped build this pool. And I'm just touching this stuff, feeling a connection. There's a retaining wall holding back the mountain that was trying to crush the house at one point in time. He helped build that wall. I'm touching that wall. And all the banana plants, all the banana trees that are around, I'm just standing at these trees because there's an essence of him still in these things. I'm a physics. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, so that is there. And, I just wanted to be closer to him. So I would spend my downtime up there. And I would only leave the mountain when we would have to do things like prep work or going through the funeral itself. From the moment I would get in my car and head down the mountain, it was no longer me in control. Go down the mountain, do whatever we had to do. Spend the day, come back up the mountain, park the car, turn it off. And within a few minutes, that control would be relinquished back to me. And I would have to fly this solo. And I would hear things like, you've got to take it from here. You're in control from here. I'll get you there. I'll get you in those moments. I've got you. But here you've got to sit in this. And there was a night I had to be picked up off the ground because I couldn't take a step. I couldn't get in the house. I didn't have the strength, the willpower. Didn't have it. Picked up, put in the bed. Next morning, we'd get up. My mom and I would sit on the edge of that pool. And my mom is a singer. Probably the first memory I have of my mom is her voice singing. She is always singing. And we would sit at that poolside and sing. And there was a song that came into my life almost about 2 years prior to Alexi dying. And it was a group of guys sitting at this like Walmart keyboard. Like you could hear the ting, ting, ting as he's hitting the keys, you know. And they're playing the song Wave My Hands. And for a long time, I'd get up in the mornings and I'd shower and I'd turn this song off and I'd just sing and sing and sing the song. Not knowing that there was going to be a time where the words in this song truly made sense. Because all I could do was put my hands to the heavens and wait. I didn't have a voice. And even if I did have a voice, I couldn't talk. I couldn't say anything. I didn't have the words. Nothing can convey the pain of losing your child. Nothing touches it. So sitting on that pool, would pull it up on YouTube, play this song, and sing. And when I couldn't sing, I did exactly what the song said. Just waved my hands. And my mom sang. Get in the car, head down the mountain. Memory. Every day leaving the mountain, there would be one of two things sitting in the middle of the road as I turned out of the driveway. It would be 2 mourning doves or 2 sparrows every day. And they wouldn't move until they were ready. And I would just sit there and watch them going, thank you, son. You're giving me little signs to let me know that you're okay. And when we would have that moment, I'd say my thank you. They'd go on about their business. And I would head down the mountain, and that flip inside of me would switch, and something else would take over. And go down the mountain, do whatever we had to do, come back up the mountain. I saw these 2 signs so frequently that I have them tattooed on my hand. As a reminder, he's still with me. He's still here. I still feel him. He comes to visit. He's still a jokester. He will mess with someone in the house occasionally. It's just, that was it. That was the day. Or series of days.
When you came back to, how long before you came back to America? Stateside?
I think it was 2-3 weeks I stayed there.
What did kind of take me through, like, there's not a, like I asked the question earlier about, like, when did you realize serving others in these moments? And you're like, oh, I was always there. It wasn't really like this happened and okay, now I have to serve. All the same, I'm assuming there's not a trigger moment, but what does it look like in the next few months and the transition when you begin to stand back up? What does that look like for you?
It was a lot of long, dark days. About 6 months it took me to leave my house once I got back into my house. Coming home wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be because I had my mom. She came back to the house with me. It was the next day when she left. And I'm alone in this house. I come in the house and I look to the right and I see the love seat that he always sat on. I see the PlayStation controller still in the same position from the last time he played it. I walk towards the hall and I see his photos hanging on the wall. I go to my bedroom. I've got to go right past his bedroom. And I just closed the door. And I went to my bedroom and I would spend so much time in my bed that I could tell you the time of day within 5 to 10 minutes just by looking at the amount of light that was coming through the window or through the curtains. It was like, oh, it's 2:15 in the morning right now. So I didn't sleep. I just cried. It's not. I've lost people before. I've lost close people before. But the pain that I felt and feel is tenfold that pain. So I sat there and I remember it took me 2 weeks to even consider leaving the house. And I didn't. I called somebody. And they brought what I needed. And that somebody would sit with me and hold me. And not say a word. Wouldn't try to make it better. Wouldn't try to ease the pain. Just hold me in it. And the crazy part is I didn't want her there. I didn't want her there at all, but she would not leave. And to this day, I'm still stuck with her. We got 2 great kids together. But she supported me through that. She would hold me as like, have you ever cried to a point like you cannot breathe?
Yeah.
Like, or had panic attack upon panic attack, just right back to back to back, and you can't lift your hand, let alone your body, after everything has just ran through you. She would help me. She would hold me. She would be my guide back to this realm. But she couldn't always be there, so she would have to go and I'd have to sit in this on my own. So 6 months go by, and at this point, I've exhausted all my savings, and it's like the choice is get my ass up and find a way to get back to work, or find a tent and go live by the river. You know, I had to make that decision, and I had another daughter at the time, so I couldn't go and stay in this darkness until whatever that last day would be. I still needed to be a dad to her. I still needed to be around to support her and to guide her through life, and I had to find a way to do that. So I go back to work. I go back to the fitness industry teaching, because that required the least amount from me. You know, I could go teach a couple of classes and come right back home. Then as funds continued to get less and less, I was like, I need to go back to the regular job too. And I did that. And I found this lady, Miss Michelle, who gave me a book. And I wish I remembered the title of this book right now, because that book was vital to my healing. And the book was written by 2 people that attended the church that she went to. They had lost their son, death, 16. My son was 17. And they talked about that and how they walked through it and the darkness and the happiness that they found in it. And then they lost another son 2 years later. And they're talking about that one and their experience and how they walked through that. That book was my turning point. If these people, after losing not one but two of their children, can stand back up and find a semblance of joy, then it's possible. You asked the question earlier, is when did I know? I just figured it out then. I remember going to God going, man, if you would not allow another parent to experience what I'm experiencing, I'll carry this until the end of my days. The full weight of it. And I'll find a way to navigate it. Just don't let it happen to someone else. But it's going to happen. And when it did happen to someone that was very close to me, all I could do was hug him and sit with him. And I just sat there. And I tell him flat out, I know you don't want me here. I'll be in the other room. That's fine. It's those moments. It's just, we all need support. And that's a hell that not too many people know. I'd gladly go back to war every day than to just sit in this. But it has made so many changes to who I am and how I operate in life, how I see people. I'm constantly, even to this day, being made a better man and a better father by this dude who's no longer in this realm. Because I would not be the man, I would not be the father that I am today had it not been for this dude. He taught me so much. He's still teaching to this day. Still teaching. So no. This is one of my missions now. Is to sit with those people who are hurting and let them know that, yeah, this fucking sucks. So bad. There's down the road, there comes a time where the suck isn't as bad. Suck always there, but it's not as bad. It won't hit you as frequently. And just be there for them in those moments to give them encouragement or just to shut up and lend my energy. From that moment on, it's been figuring out what's the best way for me to go about being able to talk with people, to listen to people who are in the darkest moments of their life. And their darkest moment may not be as dark as mine, but that's the darkest moment they know. So if there is a little nugget that I can offer you, or if it's just me sitting here in silence and you know that I'm here if you need, and that gives you the strength, the will, the ability to carry on for just another 5 minutes, I'll gladly give you 3 days of my time for just those 5 minutes so that you can just feel a little bit normal.
Yeah.
That was a lot of words. I think I answered your question.
Man, I was, in my mind, I had a conversation with someone just the other day, and someone I was sharing with, and through their experiences, they were relating, or not relating, but relaying to me how, like, sometimes that in their own words, that, like, it gets so heavy that, like, they feel out of control. And I was relating back to that person, like, man, I remember, like, for sure, like, if you haven't experienced it, you have no fucking clue. And, like, oh, that's okay, like, it's all good, right? But, like, maybe, like, nah, you always have kind of, like, no, if you haven't went to this place yet, there's a fucking place.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I was relating to that person, like, as you were sharing yours, I'm like, oh, I know that fucking place, not yours individually, but, like, man, there's a place. And as I was sharing with this person the other day, I was relating a lot, and what you were saying, what I was telling them is, like my worst dark moment currently, like my worst dark moment, I mean, it's just not even, it's not fair to compare to before. It's not even, I don't carry that weight anymore.
Right.
But what I was you had highlighted, and I was sharing with this person, like, we're never, like, it never all goes away, but man, it gets a lot fucking easier.
Yeah.
As long as we keep going, speaking to those that have had the experiences, like speaking to you, that it just, it gets, we get better, we get stronger, we improve, we grow, we heal. And I'm relating, you know, I can't know yours, or I can't know those listening or watching, but, like, you're in good company. Like, I remember the days. I mean, there's numerous examples. Like, I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't want to live this way. Why am I doing this? Like, knowing that the decisions that I was making when I'm in these dark moments, whether it was like fuck it, I'm not showering, or I'm gonna go do this or do that or not do this, break something, yell at someone. And I mean, I literally remember thinking to myself, like, don't do this. Like, it's not beneficial. And I would still act in that manner during some of those dark times. But it does. It gets better. We get stronger. We do heal slowly. I mean, at its rate, at whatever rate it's supposed to happen. I say slowly. What does it look like when you? Now I already know. So Corey's been, as he shared, like, Servant's Heart's been with him for a while, and been mentoring other men for 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. When do you kind of pick back up into that after this experience in your life? What does that look like?
It took a minute. It took a while. Through the teaching, I would still be able to find the strength to pour into people, even after class. You know, hey, what's going on with you? You're like at 70% today. What's going on? No, I'm dealing with da 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 da. And we'd talk through that. In those moments, I would feel normal again. I would feel normal. I would feel connected to someone again. Then I would leave, and that took all of my energy to be there for them and to give them. So I would come up with trying to find ways, well, how can I, keep my energy levels up and still be there for these people? I got to get back to my fitness. So I just started hitting the road, started running again.
Okay.
And in that running, I was able to just find a quiet space, and that would let me recharge, which is weird, thinking that I'm out running, like, long distances. I'm out running, expending all this energy, but I'm still being given energy. it's fueling me in another way while expending it in a physical way. Emotionally, I'm getting fueled, and I can take that surplus fuel that I don't need for that day, and when someone comes and has a conversation, then I can talk to them. My wife, we were dating at that time. I remember we had just left the Greenway in Nashville from running, going to Target to grab some supplies to go back to the house to make breakfast. We pull up, we park, I get out, and I had these neon green trainers on. And the bike on the back of this car was neon green, the same color. And we're looking at my shoes, we're looking at the bike, and we're talking and laughing about it. And the guy who owned the car and the bike comes up and he's like, "What's going on?" "Hey, man, your shoes match my bike." Turns into a 20-minute conversation. Just him pouring his soul out. And my wife is going, girlfriend at the time. She's my wife. I'm hereon referred to as my wife. We're going into Target and she goes, "It is crazy how people just come and talk to you." It's like, "Did you know him?" I'm like, "Never met him. First time I ever saw him. He poured his soul out to you." I was like, yeah, he did. And then my eyes started opening and I started seeing where it was happening more and more and more. I was like, well, let's go then. If there's a need, let me see if I can feel it.
One, and like, this is my projection, okay? But like through that experience of like, I'm going to suggest you uniquely, you had an experience that allowed you to even, I'm going to say, use some labels here, unconsciously understand presence and space. In theory, right? And then afterwards, like when you were seeing it, like, because a lot of people, a couple things, like a lot of us naturally, I say naturally, I mean, okay, we want to solve the problem. That person's in pain. I want to, and like, almost like no one consciously does this, but my projection, like, it's almost like my ego, like, I can solve this for you.
Or
No, hold on.
Oh, I had something similar. When it, like that.
Yeah. Or even just trying to solve the problem. Like for example, given the like, it's okay, they'll always be here. This is gonna, like, in that moment, like, there's no problem to solve. Mm-hmm. We are in that moment. Mm-hmm. Like, well, how do you solve it? You don't solve it. We are. We just are.
You exist.
You exist in this moment. Yeah. And we don't consciously realize that, but you had an experience that drove it real deep, and like, I'm going to suggest you much more than most people truly understand what holding space is for another human being.
Yes, exactly. I don't need to solve your problem. I just need to be here with you while you're dealing with this problem, to lend you support in any way that I can. I mean, I've had some very powerful conversations and never said a word with people. Thank you, dude. Thank you. I mean, so many ways. Specifically to this one, because you just put words to something I was struggling just 5 minutes ago to explain. That now going forward, I've got the words to use to explain it, and it makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, holding space for someone. I mean, the thing that I found that really just did not help when I was in the darkness was the words and phrases that people just throw about, thinking that it's helpful, and it's not. It's not. Don't say anything. Just sit or stand there. Hug me. Hold my hand. Put a hand on my shoulder, on my leg. Sit on the other side of the room. Don't feel the need to fill the space when you don't know how to fill that space.
And I was thinking about that too, and like, you now are uniquely qualified. again, all projections here, but like the average person is very uncomfortable, like because you have went to a place for the average person, you're hurting and I'm going to hold space for you. It's very uncomfortable to just experience that you're hurting. It's like, you can't hurt. Well, like, no, you can for a moment. Like we're going to heal. Right. But like, no, like right now hurting is what is happening. You have possibly gift, but even past gift through experience, like you're able to sit there and say, mm-hmm. Whereas, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I got to do something. We got to stop the hurt. Well, we don't, only if we had that power.
Yeah. I would love to be able to go.
Hold on. Here you go.
There you go. Go on about your business. Yeah. You're free now. I don't think that it comes from a bad place when people do these things.
Right.
I think it's coming from a place where they want to help. They want to heal. They're just not comfortable in the uncomfortable.
And even possibly here, consider the idea of like, if someone hasn't had like a very, I don't know, one of those moments in life where like everything, like you go out of control, if you will. Like if we have not had that, and that's a blessing and a good thing. If we have not had that, things that are, if we put this on a scale or a gradient, things that are above it, like we do have to like focus on this thing, but like what they're sharing, like they're sharing tools that work on level 2, but maybe not on level 9.
Yeah.
But they just don't have an awareness of level 9. Mm-hmm. This is what worked for 2. You're feeling hurt. Hurt is 2, so use this tool, right? Mm-hmm. I say this when they have hurt, right? And as you said, like the heart, my belief is going to be that the heart's pure and wants to serve. Mm-hmm. But you now have a unique gift to share.
Yeah. Even the lady who told me, I know exactly what you're going through. I just lost my dog last month. Even she. In the moment, I wanted to slap her. Like, how can you compare that to the loss? What is wrong? What? Get away from me. Is one of those moments.
Yeah.
Looking back, when I had time to sit back and armchair quarterback it.
That was her level 9.
That was the worst thing that she's ever dealt with. And she was just trying to let me know that she was in that space with me in that moment. Mm-hmm. But for me going, no, it's not. Yeah. It's not. No. You fed and changed. You did all. No, it's not the same. It's not the same. But looking back, having perspective, I can see her intentions behind what she was doing and saying. It's just the worst thing you know is the worst thing you know.
Yeah. Dude, I appreciate you being on today and being so vulnerable and being willing to share on this platform with everyone listening in. If you're open, I want to bring you back for another episode and talk about some more lighter things and what you've created since and the direction. I had a question. For now, it's lost in the universe.
It'll come back.
It'll come back as it's supposed to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely I want to bring you back, and I just greatly appreciate for all the listeners your vulnerability today. Some people listening it's can't quite comprehend it, but for everyone else, like they felt you. Yeah. Let's do shameless plug real quick. People want to reach out to you, connect. What's the best way for people to connect with you?
I mean, you can reach out to me on all social platforms.
Okay.
It's Corey, Corey. My last name Brown, Brown. The word actual. So Corey Brown Actual.
Okay.
Coming back from the military, keeping it going.
Yeah.
So
we got to cover a little about that. I know most people don't know. I mean, we talked about a very unique and heavy time in life, and little teaser, like you kind of heard, like alluded, medical field, military, like We got a lot to talk about in this guy.
I don't know, it's just one of those things is that each step in my life has prepared me for this moment.
That's it.
For this moment. Even those ones that I thought were horrible missteps have prepared me for this moment. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for your seminar. So much, bro. So much you did for me on that one day. And you didn't even know me. Jason.
It feels amazing. Thank you, brother.
Jason, who connected us. Thank you for that.
Man, he's awesome.
For the people who are sitting in it right now. Yes, it's dark. Yes, it sucks. But it gets lighter. And if you ever need someone just to sit in that with you, Corey Brown Actual. Find me on any social. I'll respond. We'll talk.
You guys heard it. If you need space, take action. I'll see you guys on the next episode.
If this hit you deep, trust that.
Your pain has power, and your story isn't over.
Follow, share, and send this to someone who you think might benefit.
I'm Greg, and this was The Power in the Pain. Keep stepping into your power.